One of the most dangerous things happening to this country called Nigeria is that our politicians are looting our resources. Yes, the looting of the resources is one of the most dangerous things happening in Nigeria. So, we were thinking that one day, either the House of Representatives or the Senate will wake up to their conscience and pass a bill that will bring a death sentence to any politician that will loot the treasury of our nation. But reverse was the case. Yesterday, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the plenary passed a bill that when you are caught with drugs, the result will be death penalty. You will be killed for carrying drugs. When you are caught being abusing drugs, even though you went and buy it in the possession you are taking it, you will be condemned, you will be killed. When you are caught selling drugs as well, you will be killed. That is the meaning of this bill.
Surprised that the committee is recommending a softer punishment. It was a life imprisonment. In fact, we should change it to death sentence. This is practiced everywhere in this country that are serious about dealing with drugs. So when we come to take it close by close, please, distinguished colleagues, let's change that section 11 to read death sentence, whether by hanging or whatever.
Check your. Can you imagine that the Senate are passing bill for them to kill people who are taking drugs and those who are selling drugs? Honestly, I don't take drugs. I don't even encourage people to take drugs or support people taking drugs. And I don't support people who are doing businesses that relate to drug. But it is so unfortunate that we are expecting the Senate to address the issue concerning the nation. The only thing they could do is to pass the bill to make sure that people who are abusing drugs, taking drugs, or selling drugs would be killed. However, the People's Senator, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, tried his possible best to make sure that the bill did not scale through. He rejected the fact that this bill is not a matter of nay or yes, that we should reconsider it, but all his efforts could not avail.
We must be honest, transparent in the decision. I am accountable to my conscience and to my community. Death sentence is not a matter for a, nay or nay. Everybody should vote so that we will be counted. When it matters, those who vote for death and those who vote for punishment. No, you cannot. We take a vote. It's a fundamental issue. We are making law here. This is not a motion. I have responsibility for any law that I made while I'm in this parliament. No, we can't pass it because I don't believe that the highs have it. It's about life and death.
Clause 11. Dealing with storage, custody of dangerous drug is amended by deleting the ambiguous word concern and replacing it with the word involve. For clarity, as the word involve conveys a broader range of activities related to storing, holding, moving, transporting, or concealing dangerous drugs or controlled substances. It encompasses various levels of participation in these activities. Clause 17. Dealing with exportation of dangerous substances is deleted as the provision of the Principal Act, Section 22, is contrary to the rule of double jeopardy, which generally prevent a person from being tried or punished twice on the same offense. As such, it is totally expunged from the Act because it offends the widely established rule of double jeopardy, that you should not be punished twice for one criminal offense.
Today, many times when I think about my continent, this continent of Africa, this mother continent, this continent that is the cradle of human civilization, this continent that has known abuse by the slavers, this continent that has been colonized, this continent that has known neo-colonization, this continent that has known apartheid, this continent that is the home of all minerals known to man, this continent that is the home of rivers that produce waters, this continent that has over 1.4 billion, this continent which is great in prospect, But this continent, which is at the lower rungs of the ladder, this continent, I think of her, where are our leaders? How can it be that in the 1940s we fought that we may drive out the colonizer, and the colonizer is coming back again? How can it be? How can it be that 60 years ago we regained our independence and our young men and women are now fighting to go to the land of the colonizers? How can it be? How can it be that 28 years ago you slew the giant that was apartheid, but there is still apartheid of an economic kind? How can it be? How can it be? And how can it be that we are comfortable in that environment? How can it be? It cannot be right. How can we claim that we are devoted citizens when those realities confront us on a daily basis? How can it be? I hear cries across the continent of Africa. I hear cries from Dakar in Senegal. They are asking, how can it be that we cannot feed ourselves? They are asking in Dakar. They are asking in the Gambia, how can it be? The same question is asked in Sierra Leone, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Benin, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Sudan, in South Sudan, in Somalia, in Mozambique, in Botswana, in Lesotho, in Eswatini, in South Africa. They are asking, how can it be? How can it be that every other civilization comes to our continent and takes away that which they desire and leave us in deprivation? They are asking. They are asking, how can the world order be of such a nature that the French can come here and do what they will and go away without consequence? They are asking, how can the British come here and do what they will and leave without consequence? They are asking, how is it that the Americans can come here and do what they will and leave without consequence? They are asking, how can the Turks come here? How can the Arabs come here, do what they will and leave without consequence? And they are asking, why? How can the Chinese come here and they do what they will and leave without consequence? They are asking, how is it that the world order is arranged that when we of the African continent appear in world bodies, whether it's the WHO, we have no vaccines when we are sick. When we appear at the United Nations, we can vote all we want, but a single European country can veto all our votes and neutralize us, giving meaning to the unfortunate situation that we are indeed lesser human beings. How can it be that when they meet as G7 and decide for us, we are not there unless we are invited for a photo opportunity? When they meet as G20, we are not there unless we are invited for a photo opportunity. How can it be? How can it be? Where are our leaders, we ask? How can it be? Where are our leaders in all these? What are they doing about it? What are we doing about it? What must we do about it? Why is it that we have leaders and we cannot feed ourselves because there is a war in Ukraine? How can it be? How can it be that when we have COVID, the claim to fame of our political leaders is that they become multimillionaires and we don't have vaccines? How can it be? How can it be that we have hostels and all equipment is imported from other civilizations? How can it be? How can it be that we have schools in which we have no faith? How can it be that even our airlines fly aeroplanes that are made by other civilizations, and we cannot even run them? How can it be that a matter that is not rocket science, such as the provision of electricity, whether you are in Johannesburg in South Africa, or Abuja in Nigeria, or Accra in Ghana, or Nairobi in Kenya, or Bujumbura, or Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, we cannot provide electricity for our men and women? How can it be? How can it be that we have all the 33 currencies in the world, with the rand, with the metal, with the shilling, with the naira, with the cedi, with all dollars, and those currencies mean nothing? The only currency that we accept as hard currency is the American dollar. How can it be? How can it be that when I travel to Africa, the only credit cards that I have are the Visa and the MasterCard and the American Express, and that we have no card of our own? How can it be?